the good part is this: we have like brilliant speakers, those who have a very good name into the industry. In which one of Komal Jaju, she is the CEO of Hayford Institute, and also she is the Harvard University alumni, and she has done also certified anti-money laundering specialist, and also having a Master of Business Administration. So she is having a very vast experience into this area. So we'll get like a good outcome from her side as well. And meanwhile, we are also having Dr. Samira. And Dr. Samira, I'll let you know about her profile. Like she is the senior executive with more than 2 decades of the leadership experience across the commercial strategy, revenue generation and business transformation, corporate governance and organizational excellence. And as a part of the Dubai Quality Group, she is leading like strategic initiatives and that promotes the innovation, operational excellence, and sustainable growth, like across both the public and the private sector. As nowadays, theme is obviously from His Highness side is also public-private partnership perspective. So she is having a holding a PhD degree, and it is our like very much good luck that she is here today and in business management from the British University in Dubai. And she combined strong skills like acumen with this excellent leadership and to help organizations, especially to strengthen themselves for the ESG perspective. And then we have Mr. Vivek Mundra. He is from our AGMS LG Group and the managing partner and the co-founder of the Marmin AI as well. And he is having a long experience for the ESG because I personally know he has done a great job into the banks, financial sectors, and also into the DNFBP sector to equip them with the ESG modalities. So we will learn a lot from him also as well. So we highly welcome to all of the three our panel speakers. So I will kickstart the little bit we go through in this webinar, the content and the notes which we are going through. So the structured, how this webinar is structured. So Komal will tell about this, that one by one each point, and later on it will be given to our panel speakers as well. In the meanwhile, I will also try to contribute something little about the ESG in AMS CFT perspective as well, time to time, wherever it will be required. So let's start from the Komal. Komal, you can proceed, please.
Thank you, Mr. Rizwanji, for a very warm introduction and a very good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you joining us this morning. So today, we will be discussing about ESG. So as everyone is aware that ESG in the UAE is no longer optional. It is now the law and a smart business, move. So today's we have two speaker from different industry, public also and private also, and they will be discussing about the ESG, how the company rules must follow and implement also. So today I'm delighted to join by a panel, who live this work every day, Dr. Samira and Mr. Vivek and Mr. Rizwan. So today's key points, from our today's webinar. So number one, like ESG is not a law. ESG, sorry, now a law, but not a choice. And then second will be net zero 2050 and COP28. Then third is mandatory disclosure is here, like from the DFM, from ADX, and the central bank now require ESG reporting. Then ISSA 5000 assuring emerging and converging on IFRS S1 and S2. Then every emirate has a plan, like from Abu Dhabi to Dubai to Ras Al Khaimah and Sharjah and Ajman and Umm Al Quwain and Fujairah. Each emirate has a different plan and their sustainability goals and energy strategy. Then, as everyone is aware that AI is becoming mandatory and AI is becoming a very important also. So now AI is becoming ESG infrastructure also. So like under the National AI Strategy 2031, AI now power emission tracking, reporting, and greenwashing detection. So ESG, it is an opportunity, not just a cost. So strong ESG credential unlock green finance, investor capital, and a procurement edge. So today we will be discussing about that how ESG is important, how we should follow, and what are the strategies that UAE will follow. So I would like to give this stage to Dr. Samira. She will be presenting short presentation from her side. So over to you, Dr. Samira.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Komal, and thank you for AGMS Group for arranging this webinar about ESG. I'm thrilled to be here today with you, and being the managing director of the Buy Quality Group. I also welcome our partnership in terms of ESG. Today, I would like to talk about ESG more in a UAE context and strategic perspective. So the presentation will talk about ESG journey in the United Arab Emirates, what has happened, what is the laws, that regulation that is supposed to be followed by companies. And of course, when we talk about the United Arab Emirates strategy, we talk about AI. Briefly, I will touch upon the implementation of AI in ESG and how AI could be useful in ESG. So let's start. Sorry. Sorry, I think I have some tech issue here. If you could kindly allow me a minute.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah.
Right. Great. So just to make sure that my screen is visible to everyone, if anyone from the panelists can tell me if it's visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Great. Okay, great. So of course, majority of the attendees will be knowing the environmental sustainability governance framework. But as a short brief, we are defining it again. Basically, it's about the environmental, social governance aspect of the business. In terms of environmental, the focus areas for the United Arab Emirates and ESG in general is basically the carbon emission, the energy use, the water management, and the biodiversity. Now, how is this relevant to the United Arab Emirates? We've got the UAE Net Zero 2050 target, as Dr. Komal have mentioned, managing extreme heat and water scarcity challenges. So now when we talk about the social, of course, we have more than 200 nationalities within the United Arab Emirates, and rarely you find this mix of nationalities, mix of cultures, making sure that everyone's welfare is being kept equally, and at the same time following the Emiratization target of the United Arab Emirates. So this is about the social. What about the governance? We are talking about the board transparency for the publicly listed companies for the time being. Mainly the financial sector. We are talking about anti-corruption, ethics, the executive compensation, and the UAE relevance law here is law number 11 of 2024, which is the Stock Exchange Regulatory Authority, talking about the corporate governance regulation. So as we can see, it is not a voluntary reporting now. I think it is very important for all organizations to follow the ESG, not only from a law perspective, but also from a business sustainability perspective, and we will talk about that. If we talk about the numbers, the ESG assets under the management exceeded around 400 trillion in 2024. We are talking about worldwide. In the UAE context, the ESG is investing market generated around 645 billion revenues in 2025. The objective is 3.4 trillion by 2033. And this is how important ESG is to the United Arab Emirates. Now, if we will touch upon the journey, the vision, of course, it started way ahead in 2006 and in 2017. So at that time, the UAE Vision for 2021 launched, and it has sustainability embedded with it. The new UAE Green Agenda 2030 has been formalized. In 2021, there was a launch for the Net Zero 2050 Strategic Initiative, and that was announced at the COP26. The 2023, the Dubai Financial Market makes ESG reporting mandatory to all listed companies within the DFM. And of course, there was another, that was from a Dubai perspective and UAE perspective. In 2025, we've got the UAE climate law that's introduced into the force. It's basically about the gas greenhouse management and reporting, and has become legally required. If we talk about Abu Dhabi, the ADX published the first ESG disclosure, 2022 and 2023. The ADGM disclosed the framework and it's been published. And in 2024, of course, we've got the federal law number 11 that we talk about, and this is across the United Arab Emirates. Of course, there is different level of how the ESG is being articulated within the UAE. As Dr. Kamal said, it's based on each emirate, and it's based on the federal level. Also, it's based on the financial markets. It's also a sector specific. So if we talk about the federal level, we talk about the MOCA, which is the Ministry of Climate Change. We've got the National Climate Policy and the greenhouse reporting there. We've got the decree law of number 11. It mandates the emission measurement, reporting and reduction. Of course, the stock exchange market law, which is the ESG disclosure standard for the listed entities. That's at the federal level. If we talk about the capital market, of course, both DFM and ADX, they have their ESG regulation at a different levels. The financial centers as well. And if we talk about the sector specific, we talk about companies, for example, like ADNOC, with comprehensive ESG requirement for operation and supply chain. In Dubai, we've got DEWA, the sustainability mandates for contractor and partners. Okay. Of course, if we would talk about the environmental pillar, I've mentioned before briefly that we've talked about the Net Zero 2050, and it's the first Middle East nation to commit to that, pledging 600 billion for clean and renewable energy investment. Okay. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park is the world's largest single-site solar project, targeting 5,000 MW by 2030. If we talk about Baraka nuclear power plant, it's the Arab world's first operational nuclear plant, and it's providing 25% of UAE electricity. Again, we are talking about Masdar city in Abu Dhabi, which is the world's first planned zero carbon city. If we talk about the COP28 legacy, it has been, of course, as you are all aware, hosted in Dubai in December 2030. And it's resulted in holistic global stake and first ever call to transit away from the fossil fuel. Of course, we have a reporting requirement. Again, and it is scope 1 is for direct emission, scope 2 is for purchased energy, and scope 3 for the value chain emissions. Of course, there is also other reporting required. For example, the critical reporting on water consumption, recycling, desalination, and all of that. Of course, there is other calculation also for the grid factors. I won't go through the details, the technical details on that. I'll talk about the work. I'll talk about the social pillar, work, diversity, health, and safety. And here I would like if we could open the floor to the audience to share with us if anybody has the experience in the social pillar. It would be highly appreciated. You can please put it on the chat, or you can raise your hand, and the moderator of the session will take it up. So my question,
yes, much more interactive and engaging. So I would like to audience to actively, participate throughout the session.
Yes. So I would like to hear about the social pillar part, especially the people or the the professionals who's been in Dubai for the or in UAE for the last 10 years to share the social pillar experience with us, how UAE has developed and it is in the social part and the welfare. Anyone?
I think there is a hand raised by Mr. Wasim.
Yes, I think that Mr. Wasim, if you could go ahead.
Please, Samira, proceed.
Sorry?
Please proceed.
Sure. Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Definitely. I think again there is some issue with the just share again.
He's saying that facing technical issue. Okay.
No worries.
But there is one question. So from Snehal.
It's still the same. Just give me a minute. Let me share the other file. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So, Samira, like social perspective,
Yes.
there is one question which they are
Yes.
actually, this is a comment, by the way, and it is
Okay.
talking about the UAE government is taking quite good initiative based on to the aspects coming up and problem being faced by the employees. So, can you please tell us like what the key initiatives UAE has taken, especially into the employees' perspective for the social aspect?
Well, of course, if we would talk about that from two perspective, I would talk about from strategic perspective, which is basically, for example, we have the Ministry of Tolerance. We've got, of course, more than 2,000 nationalities coming from different backgrounds. The tolerance culture in UAE has been there in a long time, and it has been growing. So of course, there are laws and regulation for that is anti-discrimination. For example, you cannot like demean any race, or you cannot discriminate based on religion or gender or anything like that. Of course, that is coming from the strategic perspective. I believe that also there are several laws that has been taken by MOHRI, which is the of course, the Ministry of Human and Emiratization. So there is lots of labor laws that has been updated. There is plenty of them with regard to the employee welfare, with regard to the leaves, with regard to minimum wages, and all of that. This is all has been, kept within the law and regulation within the United Arab Emirates. So both has been worked up, the culture, and the strategic level, and also down at the operational levels when it comes to the laws and the regulation.
Agree.
Perfect.
Just
Thank you.
probably adding on that, what Dr. Samira mentioned, specifically on Mohri laws. So I think recently everyone would have seen that the salary timeline that has been kind of fixed by Mohri, right? That provides a lot of flexibility to the employees, and something which was mentioned, right, for the welfare of employees. This is something which is coming up. Right. And plus, apart from that, the overall diversification, nationality diversification within the overall workforce that directly gets linked to your, let's say, the visa quotas. That is also something which is helping employer as well as employees to promote the social culture within the organization and thus overall inclusivity within the country as well. Yes, over to you, Dr. Samira.
Absolutely. I would also like to talk about the other pillar that where UAE has taken a very strong initiative.
Samira,
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but from Snail, he has mentioned that there are still private companies, some private companies in UAE where they are pushing personnel to work without valid visa and without health insurance.
Yes.
So, they are some facing a problem, without valid visa, they are working and violating laws.
Yes.
So,
I believe that this is the also a responsibility of the workers who are there. They should not be. They understand that they would need, visa and work, and it's also a responsibility for everyone who is working to report such practices. There is a very strong, checkup that is happening.
There is very strong. Yeah. There is a very strong plenty from Mohore also, as well as from Dubai economy also.
Absolutely, I agree with you. The law and the regulation are there, but there are always people who are, or companies who are going to violate it. So it's, I believe, the responsibility first of the employee to report such, unethical or inappropriate practices of working without visas. And secondly, of course, anybody who would know about it, I'm sure that the reporting is part of our social responsibility. It is to report such practices. Okay. So moving forward, governance is very important aspect. Why? Basically, the United Arab Emirates, especially the Emirate of Dubai, we are looking very much at the foreign direct investment. We are looking a lot at the public listed companies. This has a direct impact to the GDP of the country and the economy. So the steps that has been taken, of course, into that, it's been a very great steps in the last a few years. We've got, for example, the board independence. So part of the board members has to be independent board member, not within the company, to ensure that there is a fair point of view for the board of directors, not only internal but also external. You are talking about the board diversity in terms of gender, nationality, age diversity, and the requirement for listed entities. So as far as I know, by the SCA, there should be at least one board member of females in each and every listed companies. Of course, we are not yet there like Denmark and some European countries, where 30% of the board has to be women. There should be inclusion and all of that. But yes, we are there into that journey. There is an anti-corruption law. So there is also a mandate disclosure for anti-corruption training and robust compliance program. Ethics and compliance at the board level is also required. We are talking about executive compensation that has to be, disclosed in the annual reports, the shareholder rights as well. So we've been really doing well in terms of governance. And of course, the UAE has got zero tolerance for the corruption. Again, I will touch upon, different laws. For example, for the SCA, there is a corporate governance code. For ADGM and DIFC, we call it the TCFD, Aligned Governance Disclosure for Financial Institution. At the central bank level, we've got board level ESG oversight and mandatory for all licensed bank. So in terms of a global, we usually take the first 10 levels in majority of the index, but here we have ranked the 21st globally on a transparency for International Corruption Perception Index in 2024, and for the anti-money laundering and anti-bribery for frameworks. So this is one index that UAE has achieved good result on. Of course, the ESG in general, there is a reporting framework adopted within the United Arab Emirates, and there are several ones depending on the sector. Okay, so we've got something called the GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative. We've got the TCFD, which is the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, and this is mandatory for ADGEM and for the IFC financial firms. Okay, we've got something called the SASB, which is the Sustainability Accounting Standard Board. We've got the ISSB, the SDGs, which is the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and we've got the Greenhouse Gas Protocol for Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. So the reporting has to be, of course, bilingual in both languages as any annual report. And of course, there are metrics, quantitative metrics for this reports to be measured. If the time allow me, I would go through the best practices of certain companies. And about ESG reporting. Who are the leaders setting the standard and setting the trend? The companies that everyone is going to be benchmarked against. In terms of energy and utilities, we've got ADNOC, we've got DEWA with 100% renewable energy for government buildings. In terms of aviation, we've got of course, Emirates Airline. They have got significant sustainable fuel aviation commitment. We've got the Abu Dhabi Airport with ISO 14001 certified operation, executing a comprehensive carbon neutrality roadmap. In terms of finance, we've got Emirates NBD, Adib. In terms of real estate, we've got Emaar Properties in Dubai, Aldar Properties in Abu Dhabi. In terms of a free zone, we have the DMCC. The ESG reporting is now for members of the DMCC. So there are best practices happening within the United Arab Emirates at a various level of ESG reporting. But of course, that is also happening at organization of high impact or blue chips or government organizations. We would like also in the future to see somehow that the ESG is being also implemented across various companies wherever it's applicable, and it is applicable in majorities of the company. If governance is not being applied in the small companies, at least there will be an application of the social and environmental somehow. So we look forward for some new regulation and rules that would govern ESG at various levels of organizations and at a various size. I would like now to talk about the AI aspect of it, because we don't have much of time. I don't want to take a lot of time in this. AI, of course, it's within the UAE agenda. And it's as you are aware, in April 2026, it's mentioned that 50% of the government operation will run on agentic AI. That is very, very tight target within the 2 years, coming up 2 years. So ESG, the companies that will follow ESG, especially the one that have got government's stake in it, will definitely have to follow that. Now, the question is, how can AI meet ESG? How we can use AI to enhance the efficiency of ESG reporting, for example, and ESG practices. So there are already examples that is happening. If we are talking about emission tracking, there is real-time scope for 1, 2, 3 scope, monitoring via IoT sensors, which is Internet of Things sensors. For example, DEWA Smart Grid, industrial emission monitoring. It is live monitoring. We've got the reporting automation. For example, the digital ESG tracker platform deployed by various UAE firms. If we are talking about the environment and the climate risk modeling, and that is a predictive AI tool that's being used by DIFC and ADGM. We've got the energy optimization, and basically it's about green building, district cooling, and grid management. It's built in within Dubai and Abu Dhabi smart city infrastructure. We've got the supply chain transparency. We could use AI maps or AI supplier maps, and this is for the logistics and the trade hub application. We've got the greenwashing detection. The NLP analyze the ESG disclosure for inconsistencies. So, we can implement AI in the reporting itself, check the compliance within that. So the initiative has been already happening within the United Arab Emirates. Now, there has been certain strategic alliance with various companies and various mega IT firms. If we are talking about, for example, IBM and Mocha, they have the cities verification, and it's an AI system for automated engage species trade companies. We've got the fishery monitoring, we've got the quarantine system, we've got the digital ESG platform. I don't want to go into details, but the reason why I have put this slide is, it's an eye opener that AI and ESG is already integrated, and it's already integrated at a very advanced level in majority of companies. So we would need to catch up within the AI wave. Um, from my side, I believe that this is it with the presentation. I'm happy to take any questions, and I also give the floor to my colleague, Mr. Vivek here, for any addition. Thank you very much.
So I would like to ask one question to you, Dr. Samira. So, like as you
Yes.
mentioned, many companies, call themselves green, but they cannot prove it. And abroad also, like regulators are now fining them for it. They are giving fines also. And you showed also in your PPT also in your presentation that how AI can scan reports and catch these false claims.
Mm-hmm.
And if we run that AI on UAE companies today, so then how many would pass? And what's the one thing that companies here should fix now?
Okay. Well, let me be honest with you. I would actually don't put a percentage without actually running the AI across a good representative sample of UAE companies. I suspect some will struggle, not because they are not doing anything on ESG, but they cannot fully prove the claims that they are making. And here, where to come to the implementation of AI. And the traceability of data is very, very important claim. So every sustainability claim should have clear data behind it, an accountable owner, a defined methodology, and an audited trial. So AI can help companies identify gaps and inconsistencies before regulators or stakeholders do. So don't use AI to make the ESG, like AI can be used in ESG, and ESG can also use AI. This is my perspective. But in terms of percentage, really, it will be very hard without taking appropriate sample and running the AI on it.
Thank you so much for your answer. And then we have one more theories from Rachel that you mentioned about your logistic hub application. Is it available
Yes.
for private organization also as well? And where can she find or he more information about it?
Yes, of course, this is happening at companies like, for example, like DP World and certain logistic companies. It is not publicly available, but it is being applied by various trade hubs. But it is not like publicly open. Same like for DIWA, they have it for their company. Same like, ADNOC, they have the, the measurement of the environmental for their company. So these are not public. These are particular to certain organizations. These are the best practices that is being used by various organizations.
So every organization using is their strategies and their apps also.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. So I would like to give this stage to our next speaker, Mr. Vivek. So over to you, Mr. Vivek. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Komal. Thanks a lot, Mr. Rizwan, for that introduction. And thank you so much, Dr. Samira, for that wonderful presentation. Right, I think probably even I learned a lot within that presentation, and I hope the audience would have definitely picked up quite a few things. I think though you have covered most of the aspect within the overall thing, I'll just quickly share my screen as well. I have a couple of slides, but to keep it more interactive, and I think this is something which we discussed with Mr. Rizwan. Happy to take up further questions once this is done. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Again, we're not going to detail, but I think just the basics which Dr. Samir have already picked up, right? What exactly is sustainability in ESG, and keeping it very simple, right? The whole idea is about 3 Ps: the people, planet, and the profit, right? How do you kind of put across everything together and bring all the people eventually with the same planet which we are living into, and add the idea of profit as well, which generally people think is not something which is linked with ESG. It's not at all. I mean, though you have the whole governance and the social aspect, but there is a bottom line, there is a clear profit angle as well, which can be embedded into that. So that's the whole angle of sustainability. It basically is the development that meets the need of the present without compromising any ability for the future generation, right? The whole idea is we need to not just think about ourselves, but for the future generation as well, and which is quite critical. Taking a step back, looking at the global journey of what ESG has done, though it's something which we believe is maybe a decade old story, but in reality, this is almost since 50 years this has been going. And in fact, maybe much before that, those who are aware about the overall Paris law and all. So 1962 is something when kind of in the awakening started with the whole toxic link between the factories, industries, manufacturing, and how this is linked with the nature. Then eventually, late 80s, the Brundtland report eventually kind of emphasized on that there is a need for the sustainable development globally. And then in the early 2000s, late 90s is when the whole action started coming into picture with summit, the Johannesburg summit with the Agenda 21, which puts across the framework, which is still evolving. And then finally, over the last decade or so, the whole sustainable development goals came into picture. And then eventually everything is being kind of mapped into that. So again, just a perspective, not something which we are seeing from a decade or so, but there has been already a lot of work and action done over the past 40 years, which we are kind of seeing in action as on today. Climate change, again, something which has already been mentioned about, it is official, right? Literally, we have seen how over the last 2 years, 3 years, the global warming is coming. The world is becoming hot. And though we are already in UAE, we can see that almost every year the summer is becoming more hotter and hotter, right? And that's the whole thing. Even a 1 degree change can actually have a drastic impact on the ozone layer. And which, just going back to the first point, are we just living for ourselves or are we keeping something for the future generation as well? So this is a starting thing where everyone should be made aware, and not just even at an organization level, right? So ESG is not something which we think only organizations need to do. And at a personal level, at an individual level, one needs to inculcate the principles within their own personal life and then see how they are kind of saving the environment from that perspective. So from a company perspective, and again, ESG, what has been kind of a mention, obviously you have the E, S, and G goals, which is the environmental, social, and governance. Dr. Samira has quite a bit detailed about all of these three, how this comes across, how environmental from an organization looking into the overall aspect of environment, mostly which is linked with the manufacturing, and you can kind of see at an individual level as well, right? How much water we use, how much electricity we use goes back to the organizations as well. Social, I think we had a detailed discussion, especially on the labor practice, but more comes towards the diversity and finally the governance angle. So just to give a perspective, all three were looked into from a different lens few decades back, right? Environmental was always there in terms of the healthcare quality practices. Social was there in terms of HR, labor laws, and the corporate CSR practices. And then governance was there anyway from a risk and governance perspective. ESG basically encompasses all these three together to make it a more board level strategy and discussion to see if anyone is looking at from one single lens, which can benefit the organization, both inside as well as outside in, which means your vendors and customers are all your stakeholders as well.
Vivek, I will take one
Yeah, please.
expert opinion from you that how like we can connect sustainability right now, it can impact to our business growth. Like little bit if you can touch also, because many people they are thinking that ESG becoming a mandatory requirement, but meanwhile, yes, they think like it's a cost occurring. So, like, how do you think like that this concept, like this myth concept, how it can be changed? That how ESG can be more progressive for your business sustainability and growth?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ridwan, for that question. And that's how I started, right? Generally, people believe ESG or sustainability is something which is a cost for the organization, and that will have direct repercussions on your profit, where you can see profit eroding, which is not the case. So first and foremost, those who kind of a think into, instead of going into more of a regulatory aspect of, I mean, we'll go into detail of what are the regulations involved with it. The organization needs to think how they can imbibe the basics of ESG principles within the organization. Especially if I talk about, let's say, companies which develop multiple products. right? While developing the product, if you already have an ESG strategy built, you can immediately start putting across a premium on that product, and which directly helps you to increase your profit and revenue. So the idea of ESG should not be just looked from a compliance perspective, but something which you imbibe within the organization, help you build the processes, and then can directly help you either in cost reduction or revenue enhancement as well. I hope that clarifies the question, Mr. Rizwan.
It's clear, but one thing I would also like to add into this, what do you think, like an organization, what the key documents or what the key steps they need to take when they are going to implement the ESG?
Yeah,
Because you
same thing
are
I would like
already,
to also, yeah, same thing I
yeah,
would like to also ask, like, where should a company start and from where they should collect the data and where they should use it, everywhere. So if you can walk us through these steps, so it would be great also.
Sure. So any organization which is looking to start the ESG journey, the first and foremost for them is to identify which law or regulation they apply for, right? So if it is financial services industry, if it is a listed company, if it is a private sector, everyone has their own requirement. So first and foremost is understand what is the requirement for that organization. Once that is done, the thing which is being asked generally, what we do first is the materiality analysis. Now, what does that really mean? Is what are the important and material topics within the overall principles or the framework which you have identified, which is important for you as an organization. Now, why is this critical? Because again, the concept of one size does not fit all kind of a thing. Something which is important for me as an organization might not be important for you as an organization. So you need to have that analysis done of what is important for you as an organization, the materiality analysis. This is what we call as materiality analysis within the overall framework. Once that is done, you clearly identify, and again, this is being done by taking a consensus from all these stakeholders inside the organization. So it's not one individual or just the board or the management decides, it's everyone's consensus is being taken because everyone is part of the organization. And by the way, here, everyone means other stakeholders as well, specifically your vendors and customers also, because they are part of all the same ecosystem. So once that is done, you have got a consensus that what is material topic for you as an organization. The material topic can range into the GHG emissions or the stakeholder, I mean SDG goals, right? It could be related to water, it could be related to employee, it could be related to welfare, it could be related to board diversity. All those topics first needs to be identified what is best for your organization. Once that is done, you started identifying where you currently stand in those initiatives, and then putting across initiatives where you set KPIs as well. For example, very basic KPI which we have seen in the organizations is currently this is my electricity bill. I want to reduce this. And again, this goes back to Mr. Rizwan, your point, where does the profit comes into picture? It helps you to identify how do you reduce your emissions, which is directly linked with your electricity bill. It directly find of if you keep a KPI that you have to reduce it, it automatically helps you in your cost reduction as well as helps you in reducing the GHG emissions as well. So that's the second thing, which is identifying those initiatives, setting up the KPIs. Third is directly integrating those initiatives with your balance scorecard, right? If an organization, you have your initiatives across the management, identify and put across that their initiatives, their KPIs. And then obviously, like any normal organization which identifies the initiatives, monitors that, you keep on monitoring and then report on that, which eventually comes as a culmination of your ESG report. What we have seen, generally organizations start directly, we need an ESG report, let's do a tick box exercise and fill this to the regulator. It is just a cost and it does not do any better. So the best is go through the whole process, inculcate, imbibe this within your overall organization, then you can see the results as well. Yes, Mr.
Vivek,
Smart.
we have a one question also from Akshay Ahuja. So he is having 8.5 years experience in ESG with MSCI and Morningstar. So in according to his, many organizations initially view ESG as a compliance cost. However, when implemented effectively, ESG can drive profitability through stronger risk management, improved operational efficiency. So what is your view?
Completely agree with Akshay here. And Akshay, I hope you are using using your educational credentials. As you have rightly said, operational efficiency is one of the major thing which organization eventually need to look into when they go through the overall ESG journey. Specifically on the rating part, again, this is something. Again, we also support organizations in multiple rating, with this the S&P and ESG rating. And one of the direct impact of those ratings are you are able to kind of attract investors, right? Which is obviously for any listed companies one of the most important thing to attract the investors. So if you have got the right ESG rating, you're able to attract the right kind of an investors, which will help you to obviously increase the overall value for the shareholders. So again, moving from operational efficiency directly to increasing the value of the company is what ESG helps at an overall level. Yes, Mr. Rizwan.
Yeah, and by the way, I would also like to add here right now, as Vivek is also telling about the global perspective. So I will also talk a little bit AMS/CFT perspective. And AMS/CFT perspective, ESG is like a highly focus nowadays. And if you, Vivek, you allow me, so I can share one slide, like one, two
Sure,
slides
please
I
go
want to
ahead.
share because I think it can add value for the audience also as well. Mm, So this like we have constructed here. Yeah. So this is like the consequences which are going beyond the biodiversity. And if you see like, because we in HMS and through the Hayford platform, we keep educating to the people that why ESG is so important. And if you see some wildlife trafficking, like especially it's weakening the rule of law all over the world. And it is linking to like so many predicate offense in which like all you can say drug trafficking, corruption, bribery, extortion, ransom, human trafficking, all are. So therefore it's a very vital part that we need to give more attention for the ESG perspective. Then the climate also, it is creating a great impact, like illegal lodging and also unhealthy like oceans or accelerate the climate change also. And meanwhile, if you see this COVID, like infections like COVID, which came, it was also the result of the ESG, like lack of the coverage of the industry towards that properly implement ESG. Recently, I went in London and I was in Manchester. So I saw that how the initiatives they are taking. They were very much careful about that how we can restore the energy, how we can improve our climate. Even London is very much green, but they were still very much focused that how they can improve it more further. In university perspective, education is being given and colleges like students are getting ESG. I went into the metro train. I saw that everyone who was having laptop, they were working on to the ESG assignments. So this is the culture which they are establishing. So here is requirement for us also that we need to focus to make UAE more bigger into the ESG. And if I can also add one more thing here, which can tell you like little bit more picture through for just for the information, creating more interest, those who are new into the ESG and they want to understand more. So mostly trafficked and mammal, which I have gone through, is the pangolin, and which is a wildlife trafficking, which is distorting our supply chain also as well. And if we see that how the criminals they are using all these things, so I can show you also one slide which I have worked onto it, and later on we can share these slides with the team. So what is happening? Like bulk cash payments are happening, and these are all happening because due to the illicit use of the ESG. And bulk cash payments are happening, electronic transfers are happening, informal value transfer like Hawala is using to adjust these things, where wildlife trafficking is happening, where the It is impacting the climate, cutting of the trees also, it is happening, or illicit mining is happening. So this is all converted into the financial exposure, which is distorting the economies, creating impact onto the micro and macroeconomics. Maybe like Komal knows well because he has gone to Harvard University. So there's a lot of bigger impact is coming into this perspective. And mobile payments like digitalization make more vulnerability. As Dr. Samira was talking about the AI intrusion into the right now into the ESG is very vital nowadays. And we need to be, because as the technology is becoming more advanced, but meanwhile, it is creating a lot of challenges also that how we need to cover that, how we need to face that. So this is like I want to tell about like this thing, like so we need to protect our AML CFT also. We need to cover our ESG requirement also. So you cannot say like right now ESG stands alone. When we talk about the E, so environment perspective, illicit mining which is happening. So we need to cover AML CFT perspective. Then S perspective, social perspective, human trafficking is happening. Illegal migrants are there. A lot of things are happening like this. So social perspective, S perspective. So how we are implementing AML CFT. And then governance, corruption, which is a big challenge in all over the world. So like how we are countering to the political exposed person, foreign political exposed person, international perhaps, and how we can protect our organization from the illicit harm from these actors. So these are the concerns which we need to keep open our eyes and we need to counter them. So this is what I want to give a little bit brief. So I think Komal from my side is okay. So you can proceed further.
Yeah, as you rightly mentioned that, Harvard University is a very good example for, ESG, like how they are, addressing food emission, food waste, then, water transportation, and like how they have invested in wind and solar projects also. And in 2000, like they have a goal to become, fossil fuel free by 2050. And they are working also towards, fossil fuel neutrality. And recently I have visited to Denmark also. So there, Denmark is a great example for that, how they are using that cycling, on their daily life, so like Denmark, we can say it's like a car free country. And they are paying to their employees also, if any employees, if they are using cycle as a transport, so they are as a reward, like they are changing their tires every month. So these kind of initiative that companies are taking also in Denmark. So I have a one question to you also, Mr. Rizwan, that what are you optimistic that, about in relation to sustainability and businesses?
That's a very good question, and I am very positive. Honestly, when I go through the history and I see the top class multinational firms, if I talk about like Netflix, I talk about IKEA, I talk about uh, big firms, if I talk about. So even Amazon also, because I have studied a lot about the ESG in that perspective, and I have seen like how their chief sustainability officer they are performing their responsibilities. I interviewed some of the chief sustainability officers there. So what I learned from that they allocate a proper budget for this, and whenever they strategize, they at the initial startup of their year they allocate a very huge funding for the ESG growth and ESG perspective. You will be surprised that Netflix is not having a direct interaction with the ESG. But what they do, they have allocated sustainable funds for the growth of the ESG in the country. So this is what so the multinational firms, they are very much, because they know that when they will contribute into the ESG, so indirectly or directly, it will enhance their business. So this is what happens, it attracts to the investors. And then investors it's like they are fully adhered with the ESG expectations. Right now, if you see in ADGM, there are a lot of funds like venture capital funds are there, real estate funds are there. So mostly, as Dr. Samira was stating, it's becoming more mandatory nowadays, and they are also adhering with that. and they want to align themselves with the ESG. So need is this, that it gives more assurance to the investors that this is the right place and they can invest into this. So when they will invest, so obviously when money comes into the inflows, so it will enhance your business. And stabilization of the business is also subjected with the growth of the ESG. You need to balance your organization. It's not always this like this that we always thinking about the monetization. But meanwhile, we also need to think about the our sustainability growth. That is the more important part. We need to think into the long-term perspective. So therefore, it can play a very vital role. And if you see the overall in the growth, the companies which are successful, they have adopted the model of the ESG. So this is the answer of your question.
Thank you so much for your answer, Mr. Rizwan. So we have other question. I think Dr. Samira can take this. So she has a question that, as we embrace the use of AI from the government and countries moving towards net zero. So is there any trade-off or a carbon footprint in regards to the cost of ESG with the benefits?
Well, yes, there will be. I would want to say that, nowadays is AI must, so some arguments or some academics or, I've read certain articles, they've debated that, well, it should be a cost versus benefit when it comes to ESG utilization. When it comes, sorry, to AI utilization in ESG, because, in AI, we use lots of energy, isn't it? Right? So some
Yeah.
have argued that, well, is it more beneficial for us to use, AI in terms of reporting and in terms of life monitoring of environmental factor and all? And what is the cost of on the environment on that versus the benefit we will get from ESG? Well, now for us, it's all similar infrastructure and AI. So I would encourage organization to use AI wisely, within that term, because now it's AI utilization in ESG, yeah, and ESG and AI. So it goes both ways.
Thank you so much for answering this question, Samira. So I would like to ask audience also, if they have any other questions, they can please write and they can ask also. They can raise their hand. So if anyone, and also I have also asked this one question, that how is your organization currently addressing the social aspects of ESG, and what initiative are you taking around employees' well-being, diversity and inclusion, and fair labor practices and community impact? So please, you can write also that how you guys are taking initiative towards the ESG.
I think there's one more question from Rachel. Komal, you can read that one also as well.
ESG reporting was indicated as a mandatory requirement in DMCC. So can you clarify whether this obligation applies to all DMCC registered companies, or additionally, could you advise where I can access official guidance on mandatory reporting requirements and any relevant updates? I think Vivek can give this answer.
So just to clarify here, Ms. Rachel, yes, so the ESG reporting, which eventually DMCC have kind of an indicated, it's coming from a UAE level, federal level, and Dr. Samira did clearly mention about that law in her presentation. So there's a law from Ministry of Climate Change, which basically identifies everyone to report the GHG reporting. And again, from that only, it has kind of an inculcate to everyone. All the reporting requirements, relevant updates, you can get it from Ministry of Climate Change website. From there, you can identify everything, Federal Law number 11. We, as AGMS, keep on providing updates to our clients along with webinars like this, or more detail on that. So keep track of that, and you'll hopefully get something there as well.
Thank you very much, Vivek. And now actually we are already reached to our destination. So thank you very much, Dr. Samira. It was wonderful interaction with you, and you have highlighted the very key areas. And Komal,
Thank you
like
very
you
much,
have also.
Mr. Razwan. Thank you. I just would like to mention something before we wrap up. I would like, my assistant Mira, just to put the Knowledge Hub link, because in Dubai Quality Group, we've got the Knowledge Hub link. It has got free resources. And if Karen can also put, from your side, the number of the AGMS, where if there is any consultancy that is required or training on ESG that is required, to go to Highford Institute and to go for, AGMS consultants. You are the experts, so it would be good if Karen could post also, the direct contact details and your email address, of course, AGMS email address, so that the audience could contact you further.
Yeah, thank you, Samira, and thank you, Mr. Vivek, also to you for your strong support. And Komal, also, you have done a great job, and thank you very much for this. It was a wonderful webinar, which you have arranged. So these type of webinars through the Hayford platform we keep doing, and we want to keep educate to all of our participants time to time. We be bringing more awareness, and as like Samira was also telling, so Hayford Institute is also available to help you out for the trainings whenever you need any training like related to the ESG or like in any other vertical. So we are there. We are KD approved institute. So we would request that please feel free to meet us. Feel free to contact us any point of time. So I wish you all of the best today and have a great day ahead. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank
And
you.
also, I would like to tell all audience that they can join Dubai Knowledge Hub. And Meera has already shared a WhatsApp link also, so they can join a WhatsApp group and timely they can get information regarding ESG, regarding AI, all the developments they are taking. So you guys can join this WhatsApp group also as well. And thank you so much to everyone who joined this webinar and who gave their valuable time to us. And I know that it's like office time, it's like 11 to 12. So, but it was, I think, great discussion. We were short of time, but it was an interactive discussion. So thank you so much, everyone. And I would like to thanks to our panelists also, Dr. Samira and Mr. Vivek and Mr. Rizwan.
Thank you very much. Same to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.